Hey everybody, happy Friday. Ryan Cozy from the Chapel at Crosspoint. Just wanted to do kind of an end of the week update for Renovation Network. There were a couple of things that I thought were really kind of interesting in my travels this week. Had a chance to be in Cleveland, Ohio, more specifically in the Garfield Heights and Slavic Village area of East Cleveland, and then also in Twinsburg, Ohio, which is a southeast suburb of the city of Cleveland. And a couple of things that were super interesting about this week. One is I had a chance to do a data synopsis for a church in Cleveland called The Rock. And what's been interesting to us about The Rock in particular is that it has two very, very different things happening in it with regard to the population of the people that reside within that local body. And I'd like to highlight those. The first one is that the conversion growth rate of the base of that church is about 23.5%, which is, accordingly to the churches, especially in an urban context of that size, it is the largest conversion growth rate that we have seen in any of the churches within Renovation Network in an urban environment. And you could even go so far as to say it's the largest percentage of conversion growth, period. But what stuck out to me as just absolutely fascinating, and we're going to highlight this a little bit more in the next week or two, is there's a question for the churches who have been a part of this. There's a question on the survey that says, you know, have people that are in a part of the church been regularly attending another church twice a month or more prior to being engaged in this church? And in many of the situations, most of the churches that we've surveyed, you've got about 85 to 90% of the people that prior to engaging in the local body that they find themselves in now, they were regularly attending a church someplace else. What is fascinating about The Rock is that 45% of their people had no prior consistent church-going experience before coming to The Rock. That's a fascinating statistic, one that just sticks out in a very interesting way for me, and I was excited to share about it. The last thing that I would say is that most of the churches that we've been surveying have kind of a spread geographically. So people in the United States, typically, they'll tend to drive 20-25 miles to go to church and not really think anything about it. One of the things that was fascinating for us with The Rock, and this sticks out as well, is the percentage of people that go to The Rock that reside in their Jerusalem context, which we would say likely would be the Garfield Heights borough, the downtown and city of Cleveland borough, which Garfield Heights is basically juts right up against, and then Warrensville Heights. When we looked at the majority of attenders in their church, 60% of their people come from their Jerusalem context, not outside from 20 minutes or more. That is a fascinating statistic and one that I was really excited to share about. And so transitioning, I just wanted to say thank you to Destiny Church in Twinsburg, Calvin Brown. The Christian Missionary Alliance is a partner of ours within Renovation Network. Calvin's church has gone through the survey as well. We had a great time with their elders this week. I learned so much from his church and the context that they find themselves in. I want to also say thanks to Mike Hopkins and Dave Burnell from The Rock for giving me the opportunity to kind of comb through the data of their church. The last thing I'll leave you with is this. A couple weeks ago I had mentioned that I'm working on a project with John Blue from Pacific Point Church, and we're trying to help equip and train their people with kind of an online platform that highlights the outcomes that people are focused on, things like intimacy with God, Christ-like relationships, spiritual gifting, discovery, grace story sharing, and stewardship of life. And as we've started to focus on those, we're at a very close place where we'll start to test this with his people. We've had a handful of videos uploaded. I want to say thank you to all the people who sent me some of their resources. And what our hope is that this would be a process whereby we can train a local body around these outcomes that we're focused on, and perhaps this idea could catch on elsewhere in the network. And so as we finish up with this, I imagine we're about 1 to 2 weeks away from being finished with being ready to pilot this. And so I'm very excited about that. I want to say thank you to the folks who did send us some resources. Also wanted to say thank you to John and his team out at Pacific Point. They've done a lot of work with producing a couple of video vignettes around the outcomes, which are kind of cool. Thank you to Jason Malone and Jordan Stinziano for being a part of that time as well. All right, well, have a great weekend. I just wanted to take a few minutes to update you on some, obviously what I get really excited about is data. But the reason being is I just see churches continue to process through and asking the hard questions and discovering more about themselves, and then helping us within the network discover more about those churches and perhaps learn from them as well. Thanks so much, gang. God bless you. Have a great weekend.